Datura's use in the ancient world. This unassuming plant has had a long-rooted history spanning across the globe and throughout the New and Old World. Datura is a genus of 9 species belonging to the nightshade family. If not Datura, you might know it as Jimson weed, thorn apple, or even the devil's trumpet, just to name a few. Its psychoactive, anticholinergic properties and potentially poisonous nature are due to the alkaloids found in the plant scopolamine, histoclamine, and atropine. In this short video essay, I will go over its recurrent appearance in 3 ancient cultures: Northern Native Americans, Aztecs, and ancient India. Let's begin with the cultures of the Northern Native Americans. Datura has had its hands in numerous Native American societies, widely believed to have significant roles in rituals and ceremonial events. Technological advances have made it possible for many of these new discoveries. One study found evidence of hallucinogenic alkaloids commonly found in Datura from the absorbed residue of 13 pottery vessels and 14 shell vessels across the American Southwest. Many of these vessels were either effigies or just decorated with iconographic motifs of the beneath and above world and the Mississippian tribes associated with these artifacts. This sheds light on the possible use of Datura beverages in afterlife rituals and communication with spirits. Another key discovery was made at the Pinwheel Cave in California, where Datura quids were found providing confirmation of hallucinogen ingestion at this rock art site. Above these piles of quid was a rock art painting depicting an unflowering Datura flower in red. Multiple touch-ups were observed, indicating that this was a reoccurring site. Little evidence of voodoo found too, which is congruent with the known tradition of fasting for shamanistic rituals. The question remains whether the cave art was a result of visions seen under trances or did it function as a catalyst for existential communal experiences. Datura has even found its way into songs, like in the case of a Pima Native American hunting song. Part of the song mentions butterflies in a drunken stupor, presumably the hawk moths, that are known to pollinate the Datura flower. This raises the question of whether the Pima Native Americans learned from the hawk moths, and under this guise, a mythos and culture were created around the use of entheogens. Now let's go a little south and explore the Aztecs. The arrival of the conquistadors left a big red stain on Central and South America. An erasure of culture and native civilization would not be an understatement, though they did give us some insight into the rich identities and traditions of such people. An example of one is Fray Bernardino de Sahagún, a Franciscan friar, a missionary priest and ethnographer who set up a missionary in colonial New Spain in hopes to catholically and evangelicize the native Nahua people, who were the predecessors of the Aztecs and share the same language. In his book, Paslamodia Cristiana, he adapted many customs of the Nahuas by replacing their old songs with new ones of Christian content. Fortunately, he decided to change the songs rather than eliminate the customs entirely. In the case of the Compassion song, he incorporates material from the book of Genesis. And in the case of line 81, the text is adapted to the Natal language and Mexican environment, where he writes raise up thistles in Datura, rather than thorns and thistles as said in Genesis 3:18. The Aztecs did not shy away from their malevolent practices. Murder was harshly punished by the Aztec kingdom and the colonial Spaniards. Toxic substances like Datura were used by sorcerer physicians, which are comparable to an herbalist nowadays, as an effective loophole because of their potential delayed reaction and hard detection. There is also evidence of spiked ceramic-lidded jars being discovered throughout Mexico, which could have been possessed by these Aztec physicians with an uncanny resemblance to the Datura intoxica seed capsule. These jars are thought to be petequias, which are boxes made especially for the purpose of holding venerated seeds of ceremonial plants in Aztec culture. Sacrificial offerings would be placed in them to burn or as paraphernalia for the consumption of mind-altering beverages. If so, this would provide a link between ceremonial practices and Datura. Now let's take a brief detour and look into ancient India. Ayurveda is a system of traditional medicine native to India. Datura metal, as a whole, is commonly used in this system for the treatment of many disorders and ailments ranging from asthma, persistent cough, and pain disorders. Classical Ayurvedic works like the Bhagavata, the Harita Sanhita, the Bhahavishita, and the Chakradatta don't shy away from its use. Datura metal can also be traced back to the pre-11th century Indian Buddhist tantric text named the Varahada Tantra, VBT for short. The original text in Sanskrit has been lost to time, estimated to have been around circa 650 to 1200. We do have the Tibetan translated version, which is thought to have an age range of 1290 to 1364, circa. The VTB details a series of rituals of the buffalo-headed Varaha, a wrathful deity. 5 of the various rituals include the plant known in Tibetan as the Datura, which is deduced to be Datura metal. Since the Datura is never given a description, these rituals had a useful source in identifying the identity of this plant as Datura metal, based on the adverse effects of insanity and death when consumed. These rituals don't just provide evidence of its identity, but also its role and supernatural capabilities. This isn't the only connection between Datura and Indian deities. Shiva, one of the many Hindu deities, was depicted often with Datura imagery. One statue lies at the British Museum, which displays Shiva with a Datura flower protruding from the right side of his headdress. This is not surprising, considering how devotees of Shiva have been known to pour libations of cannabis over the lingam and offer him cannabis and Datura. Thank you. This will conclude my presentation / mini doc. I hope you found it interesting and learned something new. Thank you.